with Trident University's Doc 600 Module 4 session-long project with Dr. Teresa Pavone, the instructor. The research question is, does hiring discrimination exist? The trends of companies who are hiring based on gender, race, age, experience, or the lack of experience. These questions, the validity of individuals properly trained or mentored, as opposed to the need of filling a quota for minorities or gender regardless of the qualifications. Some examples are retaliation, race, disability, sex or gender, age, national origin, religion, and color. All considerations in the hiring process today. Should that be the case? What is the rationale? And the study of does hiring discrimination exist? It's needed for most organizations because it is witnessed by first-hand observations who has been part of the hiring process and has experienced the discrimination. Some of the research questions would be in this assignment: are companies hiring qualified people or filling a minority quota? Besides minorities, is there age discrimination when life experience may be the best option? Doing a literature review for this project, some of the reviews should be the job interview callbacks based on what a name sounds like, the screening processes versus the high unemployment rate. Political signals and resumes may affect a person's ability to be hired. Some of the business theories, some names may be obvious to the African American community, for example, and some names may be considered white sounding. This may be deceiving because both races may have names that could apply either way. A theory employers have in the hiring is if the unemployment is lengthy, people may lose skills over time they have developed for the job. People reviewing resumes may be biased on a political affiliation if there are signals to indicate this, and sometimes a resume may be structured to indicate political influence. The methodology. The research design will be a combination of qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative because questionnaires and surveys from a large sample size to determine the accuracy of the hiring process and its fairness. Qualitative because face-to-face, in-depth interviews are necessary to determine how ethical are these practices. The participants would be Human Resources Department, upper management, and veteran employees to get the proper feedback. Procedures for data collections will be to discover if resumes are read and by whom. Historical data of hired candidates and what criteria are used, such as the demographic questions at the end of the applications that list items such as race and gender. And if you notice of any application you have filled out in the past, at the end it's voluntary, but they do ask gender, race, color, ethnic origin. And many companies today are using that page alone for the hiring selection process rather than the experience on the resume. That should not be the case. The question should be, should that questionnaire at the end of an application should even exist? What is the significance of this research? This research could help any organization based on the success of the company and who is hired based on the success or failures of the organization. This would benefit any organization that would have an open mind to understand that everyone benefits by having an unbiased selection process to maximize an organization's success rather than filling a quota for gender and race that may not be best suited for a company and have minimal or marginal success. So you would think, what should an interview process be like? Should it be restructured for organizations, such as, should the main focus of the interview process be ethics? Because finding a good ethical background may be more beneficial than the experience itself. These are some of the questions raised because ethical consideration is of the utmost importance for any successful organization and in the fairness of the hiring process. The research From this will come from Marion Bertrand, Are Emily and Greg more employable than Lakeisha and Jamal? A field experiment on labor market discrimination from the American Economic Review. Stefan Erickson, do employees use unemployment as a sorting criterion when hiring? Evidence from a field experiment. And Thomas and Karen Gift, does politics influence hiring? Evidence from a randomized experiment, political behavior. These are all considerations to move forward in a more ethical hiring process in the future of our country and the world. Thank you for listening.